This is how you start it.
Yes. We coordinated. We're on the same vibe. So let's get this party started again. Happy New Year to my What Did Prince Do This Week posse, which includes Michael Dean. How are you this day?
I'm doing good. I got my tea this morning. I'm ready to go.
In your purple cup. And first in the chat is Cassandra Bradley. Hey, Purple Peoples. Happy New Year from the ATL. We got a special guest, and special guest we're going to bring you on in just a few minutes. We're going to do a little housekeeping first. Welcome, Andre from Detroit is in the building. What up, though? Welcome, April from Tampa. Capricorn Nation. I'm turning 55 on Monday. Happy birthday, April. What are you talking about? Welcome, Christina. Minneapolis is in the house. Thank you so much for just dropping by. Happy New Year, Sakari. Thank you so much, Nick Belden. We have to take a little Eric Lee's break.
Yeah, there you go. A little Eric Lee's break.
Yes. Welcome, Blade Brown, my alliterative brother. Welcome, Jay. Jay loves Prince. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, D. L Boogie. Stone Freak. El Dabara. I love this. Happy 1984, everyone. That's right. That's what I'm talking about, El Dabara. This is my favorite part, Michael. Love this. And the bass comes in a little bit later. Welcome, Kim. Happy 2024. Happy Ricky. Happy New Year, Ricky. I hope you're well. Welcome, Mila. Welcome, Annie Ward from France. Welcome, Sister Charles. Welcome, Redacted Static. I love that name, Redacted Static. Welcome, Red Cat Up Rock. Welcome, Man Ray. Welcome, Sandra. Welcome, Deborah. Welcome, Tanja.
Tanja. That's that every time.
Love that. Welcome, Jesse. Welcome, JD. Welcome, Drea Dances. Look at that, Michael Dean. Good morning, professors. See? Yeah, you're Professor Dean.
I'll take that.
Yeah, take that. Yeah. Welcome, Drea Dances. Welcome, Purple Cat Confetti. No, you didn't, Sandra. Speaking of How's the Family, after last week's What Did Prince Do This Week, I finally watched Purple Rain again for the whatever time, just because of Scott Bogan. If you missed last week's episode, you missed out. You got to go back and watch our dear friend Scott. He was an extra on the Purple Rain set for all of the First Avenue days. He is an amazing storyteller. We had an incredible time. So if you're behind, you got to watch the last episode. So welcome, Sandra. Ooh, this is my favorite part. Really. That bass.
Now, who's that bass player?
Now, that bass player is Mr. Prince Rogers Nelson.
What?
Yeah.
But who's playing the drums?
That's Mr. Prince Rogers Nelson.
Wow. That boy good.
He is. Because who's playing the keyboards, Michael?
Really? Okay.
Who's playing the keyboards? Who's playing the keyboards?
I think Mr. Nelson.
Yeah, Mr. Nelson. Who's playing the saxophone?
Well, now that would be Mr. Eric Lee. That's the one thing he ain't playing on.
That's the one thing, for one, that he's not playing. See how I did that? One thing for one. All right, okay. So many of you, Revolution 86, Deja, Kale Heads, Smash the like button.
Smash. I'm on my Willie D. Smash the like, smash the like, smash the like. Some of y'all catch that.
This is the wrong song to start off with because I love this song. Michael, you might not know, but this is the song that I walked down the aisle to. Yeah, I did.
Really?
Yes. Oh, I love this song.
I don't know how to take that.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Okay. We got to bring it.
I see you.
Yeah. On June the 7th. Just FYI.
Imagine this. That's true.
Yeah. Heavenly Games, Ronna Nicole, Kareem Austin, Clarissa, Real On DJ, Audria. Okay. I can't stop. Lisa Williams. Welcome, everybody. Okay, we got to start welcoming people because we need our special guest. Yes. Let's bring them on stage.
Yeah.
It's the oldest joke. So, hey guys.
And
hello.
How you doing?
We're so fantastic because we have the one and only Dwayne Tudahl joining us today.
What up?
How you guys doing? It's been a year. Is it crazy?
It's been a year. It's been really crazy.
Have you guys been doing this every week?
Yes.
I'm kidding. I watch. What? You guys tell somebody. Get the news out.
Hilarious.
This is great. I'm excited. This is very exciting.
What's up, Dwayne?
How you doing, MD?
Good.
Good to see you.
You too, man.
And Happy New Year to both of you guys. Are you both doing okay?
Yeah.
Doing okay?
Yeah.
Man, no, I'm struggling, man. I need some help, man. Good.
I love MD, Dwayne. I think I'm going to take MD for Michael D.
I've been on probation for about 365 days. I'm ready. I think I figured out how to do this.
He's a keeper. He's a keeper.
He is a keeper. So I want to give a heartfelt thanks to you, Dwayne, for joining us for the second time to kick off our year 2 of What Did Prince Do This Week.
Wow. This is exciting. Like I said, I watched. I actually didn't say that. I watched the review and review. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. Not only what Prince did, but what you guys did. I mean, that's the crazy thing is there's a lot you guys covered. And I think I also watched the Wonder Twin Powers.
Yeah.
I see somebody, Byron. I know you're playing. I hope you're playing. You said, "Who is Duane Tudahl?" Well, Dwayne, why don't you answer who are you, sir? There you go. The demonstration.
Receipts.
That Dwayne. Oh, you're that Dwayne.
Oh, that guy.
Oh.
I can't wait.
Mine's back here somewhere. Yes.
I got one for you. There you go.
Yeah.
I was just about to pull up book 3's cover. Like,
yeah, book 3. No. Oh no. That would be something. That would be something. I would love that, but that's not yet. That's not here yet. I'm still hoping.
Are you deep into that right now?
I'm still working on it. Yeah, there's a lot to do. I mean, as you know, Prince covers a lot, and 87 to 88 is a big time too, because the second book left off with sort of a cliffhanger. You don't know where it's going to go, but the third book would have interviews with a lot of people that are not in the first 2 books, and it's kind of cool. And people have been very open and very giving and wanting to continue this. So that's good. We'll see.
Nice.
Yeah. So very excited.
Well, we can't wait. That's understatement.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I'm dealing with a little bit of a cold. Last bit of a cold here. So if I sound like I'm sniffy, I apologize. If there's a filter here for sniffing somewhere. Yeah.
So you don't have like right under the frame. There's not a line right there that you're sniffing on. Is that what?
Yeah, that's why I'm so full of energy. Yeah, and that early morning.
Some of that purple rain. Anyway.
No, I'm very excited about this. Like I said, the thing that I'm first off thankful for both of you guys and your incredible guests. You guys have had so many people on Scott last week, and so many people, Matt Fink and different people, just it blows me away that this has grown and continued. Because I remember back in the day, there was a podcast that was doing the Minute of Purple Rain years ago.
Can't remember that.
So I had to look that one up, man. I just
finished that, but
but this is just the fact that you guys are still on this and still excited and still coming in with energy and thunder. It just it blows me away because it's just that you guys every week come in with the receipts, with the information, and I love this. I love the fact that what are we pointing at?
Oh, I was pointing past you.
Oh, yeah, way over there. But yeah, it's exciting because I love what you guys do. I love that even with these the events you guys do, you still find a way to put this in there. It's just mind blowing. There's a dedication, and it is in the spirit of Prince that you guys do this because he was committed to this, and he was committed to doing every day and whatever it was. And I was looking through just to review what was done the past year at like that hour-long thing you did, and it's amazing how much you did. And the thing that blows me away even more is 83 was something, 84 is the snowball's growing. And you just look at all the things he's got coming up this year. He's done stuff for the family, done stuff for the time, done stuff for Apollonia, done stuff for Sheila, done stuff for, it's kind of mind-blowing how much stuff that he's got a tour. He's got the movie coming out. He's got, individual shows along the way. It's just, it's unbelievable how busy this guy is. And 83 is just a taste. 84 is even more. So it's, you guys have your work cut out for you this next year. And I just hope I didn't screw up anything in the book.
Well, I mean, what was great actually about having Anil, we had Anil Dash on as well when we were talking about the August First Avenue show. And one of the things he said, because I'm sure you noticed every week there wasn't anything going on, I was like, I don't believe this.
Right.
And Anil was like, this is what Prince did, what we know. So there's a lot we still don't know, but we're so grateful, Dwayne, for all of the time that you have put into really crafting these books for us, because they're so important. And I know that they take a long time and take a lot of time and sacrifice away from your family, and we so appreciate it. So we want the third book, we want 4 books, but I know that's a tough ask. And but we really do appreciate the book, and that's actually one of the reasons why I put that in the recap reel, that I'm really doing this, because I just wanted to give back to you and let you know that we appreciate what you do. These books are really, really important.
Thank you.
And we're getting some new readers. I mean, not loads, but we're trying, but we're hoping that people will spread the word and get even more readers because it's important.
Well, thank you. And there's a lot in the book, and then watching what you guys do, I realized things that I don't want to say missed, but things that are important to talk about, and the things you guys are coming up with reviews and stuff like that just blows my mind, because you guys took what was there and expanded it. And when I look at, somebody says something nice about the book and stuff like this, I can't help it. I always go back to this, is Prince did the heavy lifting. I'm just writing about it. He's the guy that was lifting things up. I think a lot of people forget, with all the things going on, that this is about a guy. This is about a guy, and you forget new reader. Great. Hey, thank you. Thank you. You just kind of forget this is about a guy sometimes, and a guy who was not a deity. He was a guy like all of us, woke up the same way, put on his heels one shoe at a time. I know I do that. And he was just somebody who was dedicated to this. And I was talking to somebody the other day, just casually, about working for Prince, and the thing she said was, you forget how this guy has so many people underneath him working for him, and they were all dependent on what he did in the studio. What he did in the studio made everybody feed their family. And it just, you kind of forget about that after once in a while, because he's an icon, and almost just, I don't say cartoon, but just something that almost doesn't seem real. There's a perfection to what we see. But a lot of work goes into that perfection. And the book kind of tells just a taste of what kind of work he went into and did into this. And we all kind of know that, but seeing it day by day by day even blew me away when I'm looking at it going, how on earth did he get this stuff done? And when did he have time for the sexy time? Because he always is working, and if he's going to have, this reputation, yeah, that's a different book. But for a guy that has that reputation, where does he cram it in? I mean, I'm in the book, time wise. It's morning. It's early. That's another song. Yeah, and then I've been canceled. Amazing. It's amazing. No, it's just phenomenal to watch how this guy worked and see how much he got done. So, and inspired you guys. I mean, the thing is, he worked hard. You guys work hard too. You mentioned writing the book, but I see Michael doing all kinds of stuff. Doing, as soon as this podcast's over, he's got another one coming up, and Friday nights and everything. D'Angela and I have been friends for years also, and I know how hard she works with this stuff. And she's working her day job, and then adding to this, and then to her this, I want to say symposiums, but not necessarily a symposium. I forget what you call them. But they're
symposiums,
and they're great, and so much work goes in behind the scenes on this stuff, organizing all these people, herding all the cats together to do this stuff, and making sure we're all on time. Get on time, pal. And it's phenomenal. It really is. I didn't, I'm glad I'm not doing that stuff. It's easier for me to sit in a dark room typing than do all the stuff you guys do. So I my hat's off to you. I'm not wearing a hat. But if I had a hat, I would remove it at the moment. So.
I appreciate you so much. So there's a question from Stephanie. It says, do you think the 90s stuff would be easier to write about since most of the recording would have been centralized at Paisley?
Any sort of book like this is going to have is relying on the studio session notes, and I have a number of them from the engineers and things like that. It's not, I don't know if it's easier or harder. I hope I get to do that, but it's always about what information I can get from the engineers, because, or not just the engineers, but jeez. God.
And no disrespect to Dwayne, but
thank you.
I need one of the ladies to write that book.
Yes. Where were we?
Talking about writing for the 90s because centralized at Paisley.
It all depends on the work orders, and I've got probably for the 90s, for the first couple years of the 90s, I've got a couple hundred work orders before. Oh, jeez.
See, here we go.
This I should never have mentioned.
Nah, man. Yeah.
There we go. That's exactly right. You're going to be veering into that territory occasion, I guess. Where were we? Anyway,
we were
the
90s.
Something about waking up early.
Yes, and
that
was
the lady asked about writing the book, covering the 90s stuff, and you said about the studio sessions.
Yeah. So bottom line is it depends on the engineers, and I've talked to a number of engineers already. I'm friends with some of them, and some of them come forward. I'm still talking to other ones. Got work orders from about 100, maybe 200 songs from 90 to 93, 94-ish from the engineers. And I really try to make sure I get all the information I can from engineers and whatnot. They have journals. I also go to the unions for the musicians. Talk to Eric Leeds. As you know, Eric Leeds has an amazing diary of what's happened. So there's a lot of cool stuff you can get from the people who were there. And that's what I'm doing. And so still with the 80s, and I've still got 80, 87, 88, 89 to cover. That would be, it goes into Paisley Park. And again, the engineers, a lot of engineers, Eddie Miller, Chuck Zwicky, people like that have work orders, and they've been very helpful when it comes to filling in the dates of these things. And
also it would go into
exactly. I knew you did. I know you're going to go crazy when that happens. Yeah. And the cool thing is the 87, 88 is, the Sign of the Times tour, the recording of Love Sex, the recording of Black Album. Batman is the next year. There's a lot to that. The Love Sexy tour. There's a lot. What is a work order? I'm sorry. A work order is a studio session notes. When a session takes place, they always fill out a piece of paper that has date, time, studio, who was involved possibly, and the name of the song and whatnot, and the equipment used. So what I do is I often take those, not often, I always take those and use those as the skeleton for any sort of book. Yes, exactly. You can see, yes, that's a work order right there, right there. And you see it says certain names, says the name of the number of the date, engineer, things like this. So when you see these things, I look at that and I talk to the engineer, play the song for them. My computer blew it, play the song for Peggy McCreary on that one, and she talk about it. And then you put this stuff together and you find, yes, we do, Rodney. Yes, we do. Pow, pow, my friend. Lemon cakes. Okay, we don't. That's true. The cool thing is lemon cake is talked about in the second book. We tried to talk to Miko. Miko has said no. I've gotten information from Miko. We communicate on Facebook quite a bit, and quite a bit occasionally, and he's a great guy. I still hope Miko comes out with something that wants to talk to people and wants to share his story, but it's his story to share, and we'd love it. Let's see.
Another part of this discovery or research for this book and stuff is not only are you talking to the engineers, but from reading the book, you must obviously be listening to these songs or listening to music to talk about it, right? So there's still that part of going through
exactly. There's and with the songs, there's sometimes songs I've never heard, and I see a name on a work order and going, I don't know what this is, and so I go back to the engineer, go back to the band members, and see if they remember things. And sometimes they just remember saying, yeah, it's a piano-ish song, or or whatever it is. Or sometimes maybe an engineer has, or a band member or somebody else out there, collector, has certain things. And collectors have reached out to me and said, here's some music, a rehearsal that you may not have heard, or so you kind of can throw those things in. I always make sure that those things come from sources within the community. And I've not reached out to Dale Alexander, and that's one of the names on my list, because for book 3, that would be a great one, for Madhouse and stuff like that. Rodney's all over this today.
Yeah.
Get him on camera here.
Yeah.
Really?
So, Rodney, let me know if you want to come on. I can send you a link. So just give me a heads up. So I just want you to know, if you go back through the comments, there have been several, well, not several, there have been a couple people so far voting for 88, 89. But there is someone who asked about 81, 82. And I think that is also very important.
What I would like to do is finish up the 80s, whether it's 87, 88 or 87 through 88, 89. It depends on how much information I can get. Then I'd like to do 81, 82, or 80 through 82. Maybe a 3-year thing on both. I don't know. We'll see how much information. And also I don't want to do a 900-page book. Okay. Well, but there's 81, 82, or 80 through 82 is that's the formation. And that's really cool. There's a lot, the formation of the time, Vanity 6, you've got a lot of stuff going on there. And I've actually started drafting that one too. So I have a rough sketch of both sides of the 80s. It would be great to finish out the 80s.
Yeah, it would be great to finish out the 80s. They're both very important eras.
I agree.
Eldebar is asking, are you tempted to branch off on another book project that might have come from your research?
I would love to. First off, I've put the word out there. If there's anybody out there that knows studio sessions from other eras, let's work together on a book. I'd be happy to do a co-writing thing with somebody. So there's a lot of things like that. Got a hair on my face. Sorry, I should shave my eye. I would love to write more of the stuff. I mean, I've only got so many years I can write, but after a while, the wrists fall off. And you want to spend time with your kid and your family and stuff like this. But yeah, I would love to do some of this stuff.
I love Terry Lynn Carrington. She's really awesome. All right, but I want to ask these questions of Dwayne because there's so many of them. JD is asking, you explain work orders. Are the records from Paisley likely to be as meticulous as those of a for-profit studio? That's a good question.
Well, yeah, I think any work order is, the reason why you do those is for billing. You want to make sure that the billing says this is what it was. In fact, I've seen some of the work orders from Paisley Park that engineers have supplied to me. First off, understand, I've been researching this stuff for about almost 30 years now, for this stuff, for Uptown Magazine and things like this. So over time, you get a lot of work orders. The work orders from Paisley are a little more meticulous because it's in-house and the engineers have to, bill specifically for things. Whereas I think with like Sunset Sound and some of the other places that I've gotten work orders from, Studio Notes, it sometimes just has the name of a song, like the one that D'Angelo showed earlier. It literally just said Computer Blue and something else, and then the time that took place, not the time. And you kind of got to figure that out. Some of the work orders later are a lot more meticulously written, which helps when it comes to understanding. Some of the other stuff is I don't say speculation, but educated guesses, because you start looking at the union notes, you look at Copyright Office. I've gone to the Library of Congress, spent time there. So you kind of, it's a lot to put in to make it this nice, neat little package. And then finding the interviews and going through all the interviews that are out there, whether you guys just show that hair. It's crazy.
You need a fan.
I do. I have no fans.
And then it'll fly away.
The hair going like this, like an 80s rock video. The drums.
You'd be really feeling yourself.
I know this is an aside, but one of my favorite commercials of all time is still that Maxell cassette commercial when it gets blown away. I always love that.
That is a good one. That is a very good one. But I would love to, I don't know where we were, but I would love to write with other people. I would love to do more books, spend a lot of bucks on Uptown. I do too. But Uptown was a great, if anybody who haven't seen or understood Uptown was this, Uptown was started by Pierre Nelson back in, I want to say probably 89, 90. And it had a team of us that were working on that, writing articles, researching, interviewed people. It had interviews with like Bobby Z and all these other people that were in it. It was during the time of Controversy magazine and things like that. And it was, those were the two big magazines at the time. Controversy eventually. And
these were Prince specific.
Exactly. This was just Prince. And that was the cool thing about it is these really dug deep. And there were a lot of other magazines, Seven magazine and other magazines like that was Australia. But those two were the big ones. The other one I would suggest was Prince Family Newsletter, which was I think bi-weekly thing you'd get that had a summary of every article and TV appearance. And that was great. Pre-internet. It was really excellent. I'm sorry, what was that thing? Somebody have a question?
It wasn't a question. I'm just like putting up a lot of different comments. Someone was saying Uptown was sold at Tower Records, which I
absolutely. Yeah.
Brown, go ahead.
Well, I just want to say, just to reiterate, Uptown and Controversy magazine, that was before the internet, and for a Prince fan, that was everything. Like I would go to the record store looking through. Oh, I had no idea when they would come out. They would just show up. You just see it. And I was just like, I couldn't wait to get home. And that's where I got all the information from. All of that is a precursor to what we're doing, to this book. But that's where it all started. So if you're like getting into Prince and you just want to, if you want to really find some good collectibles, I would say go try and search out those magazines. They were like everything back then.
The guy that did it, like I said, Pierre Nelson wrote the book DMSR. He wrote that, and we also wrote documentary. And I think there was another thing that got written. Oh, The Vault, which is a great book. And the other cool thing I would say is the big source right now is Prince Vault. Prince Vault online is those guys. Some of them worked for Uptown, Yost and a few people like that. Also, they were these guys are, when you want to talk about people who are Prince experts, it's the guys that run that. They're just the things they know. I talk to them all the time because they're always having some sort of great insight on things. So, and they've helped with these books and things like that. So I can't suggest Prince Vault enough. So,
and I'm just going to say, salute to whoever these people are. Cause what I love about it is I don't know their names and they don't put their faces up there, but they're putting in the work. They stand on the work. The demonstration is the website. So I'm just saying, for me to y'all, salute, man. Like, wow. Like,
bunch of purple ghosts.
Great.
Yeah. No, they're great. And they're nice people also, but they do this because they want to have people out there, so what's the next one say? A monthly booklet. I don't remember. There were a lot of them. There's a lot of them during the late 80s, early 90s. A lot of Prince books came out, or not Prince books, but Prince magazines, fanzines, zines. And it was great. That was a great time because the music was pretty popping.
Mm-hmm.
We had the ability to get the stuff out as pre-internet, and there was a community, so yeah. Boy, you got a lot of comments here.
Yeah.
Oh, read Uptown. I seriously, some of it's dated. I mean, I'm going to say some of it's dated, but some of it's great. We had interviews, like I said, with Bobby Z. We had interviews with a lot of different people, and it covered so much of Prince. It wasn't just 80s centric. It covered as much as we knew up until then. And the thing, the magazine went up probably all through the 90s. So we were covering a lot of the 90s, New Power Soul, things like that. It was, it was, and the thing that's funny is it looked like this very fancy magazine. It was done by about 5 or 6 people,
Wow.
Harold Lewis, a few other people. It was not a big crowd of us, but we were all sitting there going, how can we, scramble? And I think to make it, I'll tell you a little secret, to make it seem a little bit bigger, we would sometimes write articles under different names to make it sound like we had an army
Nice.
of people doing this, because we did not. There was a article I wrote that I listed under SH Rock, and it was Schoolhouse Rock. I was trying to think of something funny to do, but we wanted to get, we didn't want to look like it was 3 or 4 people writing everything. So we would sometimes add different names because we just wanted to have, wanted to appear like we were, like we had a crowd of people that were, looking into this. But it was all of us just spending so much time. And like I said, it boils down to Pierre Nilsson. And this goes back to what the question was earlier. Have I thought about working on other things? I'm actually still friends with Pierre Nilsson. He's a guy that he wrote that first book, and I think he's a great guy. I would love to do a book series with him, where maybe we do a 2-part book series that is like Prince quotes by people about Prince. Whether there's all quote books, and we could do 2 books. One that goes, to a certain length, and the next one is about, the last 15 years or something like that. I think that would be cool. You could do and make them 700-800 page books, because so many times I see a book that's supposed to be about his entire career that's all quotes, and it's like 150, 200 pages. I'm going, you can't sum up this guy's life in 200 pages, to me at least. I mean, these are 500-600 pages, and they're 2 years. That's and I still miss stuff. So, and
is that like, when you just hold that book like that, is this edited down version or
this one? What's that?
I'm just saying, and is this like an edited down thing that we're reading? Were there more things in the book?
Oh yeah. I actually the second book, this one was about 250,000 words. No book is about 50,000 words, so it's about, it was a lot more than the publisher said. They'd like to have 180 at the most, and I gave them I edited it down to about 200,000, so it's still much bigger than a normal book. And some of the stuff I take out was redundant. It was like, okay, I said this before, I don't need it. You see it in context. And D'Angelo was one of the people that was looking through the book before it was published, because I wanted her take on this, and that was important to me, is to make sure I have other people who I think are very knowledgeable of this stuff going through it and saying, you know what, this kind of gets, because studio work is a little repetitive. I mean, he goes in the studio at this time, this studio. You try not to make it as repetitive as that. So, there was audio books for both, read by Ron Butler, who was the same guy that did Morris Day's book, by coincidence, Small World. Although it's on audiobook, it's a little strange because you don't want to keep hearing Studio C, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. book lockout. After a couple hours as you're driving, you're going, okay, just speed that up. What time is it? Right. So you want to me, I mean, I'm happy people like the audiobook. To me, the best audiobook, and I won't be able to ever do this, would be to have all that stuff and the music. That would be, and this is why people, I know both you guys have said this, and I've said it too, is when you're reading the books, have the music available and just kind of listen to it and stuff like that. And it's easier with the second book because you get the Sign of the Times box set, and you can go along with it and say, oh, that's what this, okay, now I can hear that. I see. And that's part of the fun to me of these things. And if you're a collector, you probably have a lot of this stuff, whether it's B-sides or rarities and things like that. So I think it makes the experience that much bigger. Dwayne, do you have an intern? I need to continue as long as possible. No, I don't. I don't have an intern. That would be great. I am my own intern. So yeah, and I'm pretty organized, but there's a lot. It's a lot, and it's a lot to keep straight. Exactly, Joe. Hi, Joe.
What up, Jill?
I think it'd be great to have a book like that, but it's something I can never do. It's because I don't have the rights to this stuff. But you guys have the music from collecting prints, and you can sit there and I know, like I said, both of you guys have done this, where you're sitting there saying, I want to hear that song now. And what's cool to me, and this is the community that I love about this. First off, the Prince community is so knowledgeable, and I'm so grateful because they will make sure you're right, not always kindly, but they will make sure you're correct on things. I had one talking about the first book came out, and somebody said, I talked about She's Always in My Hair, and they said, yeah, I said it was on this date, and they said, well, that piece of equipment wasn't made until mid next year. I was like, okay, I got to look into this, and I looked into it, and you're right, and I also realized that he'd actually recorded those overdubs in September of '84. I was like, okay, great. This is something, holding your feet to the fire. This is a peer review. And so as much as excited I am about you guys doing this, every week I watch this, there's a part of me that's thinking, oh God, are they going to find a typo? Are they going to find an error that destroys the book? And they walk in and the book's in flames one week. This thing's crap. So, but so far I've skated through a year and gotten away with it. So no, well,
now that you're here on page.
Wait a second here. I knew it. That's a trap. It's a trap. But I just love the fact that you but you guys do. What do you like that? I love the fact that you love Star Wars thing there. Very good. That's the other nerd thing I am, is the Star Wars nerd. I love that you guys, like I said, I love that you guys hold not only my feet to the fire, but everybody's feet to the fire, saying this is what is accurate, and this contradicts this, or this is not sure, because there's times in the books I'm not sure, and I say that this is what Jesse says, this is what Sheila says. I wasn't there. I want both of their stories out there, and I don't know. There's I think you look back on 40 years or something, you're going to forget. I can't remember what I had for dinner last night, and let alone to try to remember. Oh, I still got that hair. I should shave my head. That's what I'm going to do. Shave my head. So, but I love the fact that not only you guys, but other people, other podcasters and things like this, really do hold everybody's feet to the fire. And everybody has different memories and different thoughts and different theories. Oh, I think that's because he was doing this at the time. And it's like, okay, let's put it all together and make a big tapestry and enjoy that.
So I want you to answer Sicknick Productions question. I know you've answered this before, but
happily. Yeah, I actually finished the book a month before Prince passed. I was working on it for about 20 years, which is a long time to work on a book. I wasn't sitting there for 20 years at the typewriter. I was working on it as much as I could, and then I finished it in March of 2016. And when I finished it, he passed away. I thought about putting the book away. I really didn't know what to do, because I thought, I don't want to be that guy. That guy. Wait, are all drinking? I'm sorry. I missed the cue. I'm sorry. So I wasn't sure what to do, and I called Susan Rogers and Peggy McCreary and people like that and said, "What do you do? And they said, you did a lot of work on this, and you should come out." I didn't have a publisher. I was just doing it because I thought, okay, we'll see what happens. And I found a publisher. Into the toughest thing for me, though, was once he passed. Obviously, the passing, that's not the toughest thing, is dealing with that. But when it came to the book, was changing everything from Prince is to Prince was. And that it hurts me with just saying that, because it was such a tough one. Let's see. Star Wars nerd trying to do just very. That's true. I wouldn't have problems with hair then, because I'd be bald, burned. But it was a tough time, and I want to make sure I could do it right and respectfully and honestly. And some people came and jumped on wanted to be in the book after that, and some people said they didn't want to be in the book because they didn't want their first statement after Prince's passing to be my book. And I thought that makes sense. So certain people I took out, certain people I added, and I did it with the hope that people would enjoy it. And I didn't know. I thought maybe I'd sell 15 copies, and that'd be kind of a couple people going, yeah, this is interesting. And I had so many people saying, why would you want to write a book about his studio sessions? How boring. And I thought, it's like writing about music. Okay, that can be tiring. I found so many fun stories in there, and so many times that the revolution or the family or whoever it was talking about this stuff, it was amazing. I loved hearing these and knowing probably that's me, yeah. And it was fun. First off, it's fun doing this stuff. I mean, I get to work with people that I fanboy about. And so and also you have to been, it's great being able to talk to these people. I hope Sheila contributes to the book. Her input is very crucial. I love Sheila. I've worked with Sheila on the Family Jam show that happened years ago, and I directed the video for that. So I've worked with her. I know her. We even talked about doing a documentary together years ago, but nothing happened with that. But I would love to get Sheila involved. I think Sheila is very specific about what she talks about. Luckily, she's written a book. She does interviews and things like that. So I use quotes as much as I can from her. Things like that. Boring. I wish this book was double in length. Wow. Well, you know what? Tell you what, the 50th anniversary of Purple Rain is coming out in 10 years. Maybe I'll do a 50th anniversary book that's 800 pages with all this information we get from this stuff. So,
can I ask you? Just make me think of something. And I see authors doing this nowadays. Are you in a position to do or thought about doing like a sort of Kickstarter special edition version of maybe to like the first book, where you kind of can go all out, big hardcover, and maybe pack some other stuff? I don't know if you are aware of these types of things that happen.
No, I've seen them. I think they're really cool. I think that the thing to me is I only have a limited amount of time I can tell stories. As I get older, there's just you got a window of this stuff. I'd rather get more stories out than expand the stories I've done. I don't want to keep reselling the same book. I love the idea. I'm also with a publisher, and my publisher, they publish these books. They want to, I think, go to the next books. I don't think they want to do that. So the Kickstarter thing would be if I did something outside of what I have signed for with this publisher.
Gotcha.
Morris Day, I would love to talk to Morris Day. To me, that would be a great one. Andre, I've talked several times to. He's great. Des, I've interviewed years ago, and I sent him a book recently. I hope to talk to him. Never talked to Chris Moon. I would love to talk. If I get to the first book, I would love to talk to him. So there's a lot of people. The thing is, there's always the next person. Everybody's going to suggest Dale Alexander or all these different people, and I agree. But there's people that I've found that I'm like, oh my God, they're key to this that I didn't understand, and so you find some of these people and you go, oh, there's some really cool people that have knowledge or information or dates that are, you get one sentence from somebody and all of a sudden it unlocks a whole chapter and a wing of songs. So inclusion of photos of pre-working. I wish there were photographs of Prince working. I mean, that's the bottom line. Is the only photos I've seen are the ones we used on Prince's autobiography. I know we put a lot of the stuff in there of him working, but I haven't seen a lot of him working after his the Moon Studios and stuff like this. They were around as well during the time you wrote the book. Jerome was great. I love Jerome, and I've actually taught. The interviews I've used with Jerome are from D'Angelo. D'Angelo did a great interview with Jerome. I would love to do him in the book. He especially if I went back and did stuff for 86 again. But also, if I do the next book, which is 87, 88, 89, he did the time stuff then. They did. And also, if I did beyond that, they did Graffiti Bridge and things like that. So Jerome was on. I've talked to Jerome many times as a friend, as somebody else, but not with this. And I've asked him, "Can I interview you sometime?" He said, "Bring me the questions." So I just, and he'll decide. But to me, you almost can't have something like this without quotes from Jerome, because he just knows. He was one of his closest friends. And once you talk to him or hear him on an interview, listen to D'Angelo's thing. I hope she puts a link up to that, because that was hearing him talk about stuff like this, you realize why Prince liked him, and you realize why Prince enjoyed his time. Yes, the corporate world, such as, to me, those are mysterious things. Robin Powell would be great. Now I know Michael Dean has done a big interview with Robin Powell, and she's great. And I've talked to her about doing an interview for her stuff. I would think would be wonderful. So again, there's almost infinite people you can find for this stuff. Eventually, there'll be fewer people that that didn't get interviewed that got interviewed. There would be a world of people, and after a while, you just have to figure out, okay, these are the core, and I want the extras if I can get them. But I always just wish there's more I could do. Yeah,
we're gonna skip over the Netflix doc questions.
I can't. There's nothing I can say about that. I don't.
I mean, I don't think there's much to be
Yeah.
said.
Well, we don't know that, so I just so you can.
Yeah.
say
No.
that.
No. Okay. Okay. I don't see what questions are coming up, so I don't know.
But
I
it's
mean,
2, so that's one,
okay.
and the other one is
Like, nope.
Nope. I worked on TV stuff. I've produced a lot of stuff on TV, but I have nothing to do with a Netflix documentary. So, yeah. Toot on the house. That's me.
Yep. Awesome. So I know that you only have the hour with us. So do you
I can stay just a little bit after the hour, but then I've got a family obligation.
Okay. So if you don't mind, I want to get into what did Prince do this week. I think here we go. We got Professor Tudahl. Since we have Professor Tudahl with us.
Superman.
So let's get into it. All right. So we are year 2 of what did Prince do this week. We're starting this all over again. This gift is courtesy of Eldebara. I love it so. It's from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That's Jack Nicholson, if you don't know. So once a week for a year. Yes, and now no, 2 years. We're working on, so okay, see you there. All right, and then Eldebara has given me a new gift this week. I love it. Week 1, again, working round the clock again. That's what we're going to be doing. And I didn't see this last week for week 52, but thank you so much, Eldebara, for always in my hair graphic. And I already talked about Scott, but I really think that if you watch one episode from last year, you should watch this episode. So this is our last episode of the year with Scott Bogan. Again,
Scott is great. Scott is great.
So great. And he's such a fantastic storyteller. And it was just so wonderful. I love this quote. Professor T with hair on his face. Love it. All right. Some more Professor Tudahls.
This is making you embarrassed.
All right. So we're going week to week, not day to day. I'm only going to say this one time, and I'm not going to say this again, even though we're going to have this slide every single time. When we read the book, it's from Sunday to Saturday of that date in 1984. Today is a different date, like January 6th. It's, so we're not reading to 2024's date. We're reading Sunday to Saturday of 1984. That's what I mean by that. If you go like, what? I don't get it. And then you can follow the detailed schedule at our website. And I do want to take a little time to show that we actually have the schedule all laid out for all of this year, because the reason why we're doing this is because I really want you to read Dwayne's book. So we are reading it in bite-sized chunks. And so technically today you were supposed to have read pages 211 and 219. And next week you should be reading 219 and 234. It tells you basically what weeks it's covering or days. And then you can see like who are the guests. I put the link to the show once it's live, and then you can see the songs and things that we'll be talking about and all of that. So don't sleep on the schedule. It's a lot of information there. And while we're at the website, another thing you should be aware of is if you go to the home page, it's a little slow here, and you go on the home page, you can see the slideshow for the week here, and you can just like go through each, and then you can open it in Google Slides if you have Google Slides. And then I also have a recap slideshow for last year, just covering the months. So it's a lot of information that you have access to. So just be aware of that. And then you do not need the expanded edition, but that's what we're reading. It is the blue text expanded edition. That's what we're reading. So some of you may not have that. That's okay, but that is what it's based on.
So people understand what the difference between the regular edition and the expanded edition. There's about 50 extra pages in it. New interviews, things like that. When the first book came out, people said, some of the people I wasn't able to talk to. They were like, I don't know who you are. Get off my property. Things like that. And so I after the book came out, people came back to me and said, now I've seen what you do. I respect what you do. You've done it with taste and respect. And so they joined in. Bobby Z did interviews for the second one and stuff like that. So that's so funny.
I love it. I love it.
But so that had, and also there's corrections. There's new information that came out once people said, oh, now I understand. I should have told you this story. And this is the ending to that story that I read there. Once Prince stormed out of the room, he came and talked to me type thing. So that sort of thing is what made both books end up having it as sort of expanded editions because you want to make sure it's accurate. Let's all hold up the book.
Throw your books up.
Raise your book. Raise it in the air.
Come on, y'all.
That's hilarious. So the expanded edition is a little, it's a little thicker. I made sure that any sort of mistakes were fixed, tweaked, adjusted, and things like that. It's just nice. So I'm glad you wanted to do that. The second book, is not longer, but it has more information in it that there you are.
Mine's is invisible for now.
I would have brought two if I'd known. Shared with you. That'd be funny if I hand something over and you grab it out of there.
That would be.
That'd be great. But it was just I don't always intend to do an expanded edition, but when I realize there's more information and corrections and things like this, I want it accurate. And that's why sometimes I use quotes from other people, because I don't care where the quote comes from. I've done hundreds of hours of interviews with people, but sometimes I'll see a good quote from another podcast or something like that. And I'll say that actually sums it up better than what I would have done or what I could have gotten. And so I love that golden ticket. That's very funny. That's great. So anyway, I'm glad you guys are following the expanded one.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
And these are always archived on YouTube at Polished Solid, as well as Michael Dean's YouTube channel, which is at MDean. Please subscribe, like, and help spread the word. And it's more than just spreading the word about what did Prince do this week. It's really about spreading the word about the book and reading the book, because it's all about Prince, because we're doing this for Prince. We're not doing this for us. It's for Prince. Yeah. And we kind of started off by talking about this. Reading it slowly gives you an opportunity to really listen to the songs if you have access to the songs and you hear them differently, because you have more context for them. And also you have grown as a person because it's 1 year later or 30 years later or what have you. So it's a really great way to get through the book, because it's a lot of information to cover.
The other thing that's very cool is when you're looking at this in order, sometimes you'll hear, like, let's say you do 2 or 3 songs in a day, you can hear the same instruments he uses, same patches and stuff like that. And you go, oh, he's still on the Linn drum machine. And that's just a variation of what he did at 10 o'clock. He's doing it at 2 o'clock. And that's kind of fun because sometimes he's just, there's a whole thing where he's working for the time. And he does 3 or 4 songs that have Prince playing the maitre d' or things like that. And you're going, oh, okay, he crammed that into one day, but then, peppered it out over time. That kind of stuff is fun. I'm one of these people that enjoys music. I love music in general. So if I see a book, I just got done reading the new book about George Harrison, and it's the cool thing. This is the fun thing about this is the book is really good. You like the Beatles. It's great. The entire last chapter, the epilogue, is about Prince. Is about Prince playing While My Guitar Gently Weeps at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So I'm like, this whole book about a Beatle ends with a chapter about Prince. And literally the whole chapter is that, just talking about how a genius honored him with it and going, damn, this guy's everywhere. I mean, literally, I read a book about Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and Prince is mentioned. Prince is just in everything. And so it's fun to me to read books about what happened with other people. And then it's even more fun to see how Prince gets woven in, because the authors and musicians look at Prince as this guy. Everybody else is here, and Prince did this. That's why Elton John was happy to write forward for the book or things like that. You read the quotes from some of these musicians and guitarists and things like this. There's such a respect for Prince, and this is what I think this community does is respects his work and it does it in a mostly friendly way. There's times it's not. I had to throw the asterisks in there, but even the ones that don't are trying to make sure it's right. And I respect that. Trust me, I get called to the carpet all the time. And I'm like, okay, I got thick skin, luckily. But I love learning. I love getting the knowledge. And if something's wrong, let's fix it. That's what I was, you know.
That's my philosophy.
Yeah.
If something's wrong, like,
Yeah.
I thought you about to say, well, then let's fight.
There's people out there that will, and there's people that are going, okay, we're just disagreeing here. And people are like, you know, it's odd. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, you know, you probably haven't talked to people much, and you're not sure how people communicate. So, you know,
okay, Cat Williams, you going?
Oh, that's a crazy one. That's a wild one.
I mean, anyway.
So where are we,
D'Angelo?
Yeah. Tell me.
I'm trying to put the comments on the screen and do the slideshow. So I'm a little slow today.
We're all trying to lay down some science here.
Yes. So basically, I really wanted to just shout out several people for keeping the hashtag WDPDTW alive. And I want to give a shout out to Sterling Stewart, who has contributed some Twitter threads throughout the year related to What Did Prince Do This Week. Also, Kim always shouts us out, as well as Mila, who is Coco Cannell on I call it Twitter. And then also Chip and Sparrow, who also posts a lot, because we talked about Menards 1 week in terms of hot summer at Menards, and Chip and Sparrow posted the commercial of the Menards guy. I didn't even know there was a Menards guy. So also I had to give a mad shout out to Baron3121, who usually posts a little clip, because I'm not very good at social media. Number two, I don't have time. In order for me to do this, I have to stay off to social media.
Who are you mad at, MD? Look at that. Look at something. Get the hell out of my house.
No, it's MD thinking.
That was somebody who's owed me some money. They walked in. And I'm like,
dude, I saw pictures of you on vacation.
My ends.
So if you want to share anything with us, particularly when we start talking about the Purple Rain tour, like if you have tickets, if you have merch, if you have photos from any of the venues, you with your crew, maybe dressed up in Purple Rain gear, we really want to see it. And the only way I can find it, because I'm not on social media a lot, is if you use the hashtag. So please use the hashtag WDPDTW. And if you want to send us anything to include in the slideshow, please email WDPDTW@gmail.com. I'm not on email like ding, 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 ding. So I might not respond immediately. It might be a week later, but I will eventually see it. I'm just a little slow sometimes because I'm juggling a lot of stuff. So
a lot of plate spinning.
Yes. Now, I really love this recent post from Chip and Sparrow. And Chip and Sparrow said, in 2023, I found myself crazy enough to watch every single week of What Did Prince Do This Week. And that would mean 51 episodes. And the reason why it was 51 instead of 52 is because we did the Diamonds and Pearls Super Deluxe virtual celebration, and we didn't do one that week. Otherwise, it would have been 52. So I love also that Chip and Sparrow wrote my reading materials, first edition hardcover, expanded edition. And I just love to see this image. So I want to give a mad shout out to Chip and Sparrow, who's located in Japan.
Wow. Dwayne, you ever just like when you wrote, I know you didn't, but when you wrote like, yeah, somebody's going to do like,
no, it's every week. That's this tricky thing for me. Every Saturday I go out with my daughter for daddy-daughter morning. And so that's my thing. But I have to delay it sometimes by saying, I want to hear you guys. And I know I'll either listen to it live or listen to it. Because I sometimes comment with you guys. And you guys see, sometimes I'm quiet, like a ghost in there, a ninja. But I'm still blown away that I keep thinking I'm going to get an email that says, yeah, nobody was watching. We had to stop these things. And every week I not only see what happens, but see the comments from people, because there's comments about other music outside of this. Like, I think that was something with maybe the B-52s did that, or the Go-Go's, and someone will come up with, oh no, here's the information for this. And I just love the Library of Alexandria resources that something like this creates. I did not picture this. When you write a book, you write it in a room by yourself in your underwear, and or somebody else's underwear. And I did not expect to have people reading this. And I know. I canceled again. I'm double canceled.
Do y'all? Y'all do that.
You don't. Yeah, I guess you just don't. You do it in a vacuum, and you don't expect anybody to be, really paying attention, let alone tearing it apart. And it's nice. It actually inspires me to make it even that much more contextualized and deeper. And there's things that I like, well, do I really want to go on all these reviews? And sometimes you guys find great reviews on things. And I'm going, I don't know how they found this and how it fits. And it does. Yeah, exactly right there. Right there. And it's just so brilliant. The amount of context that gets added is no. Did I ever think about this? No. Did I ever even think about people reading it? Now I see I've had people send pictures of them having the book on vacation with them. And I'm like, that's crazy. Or they listen to it on the plane, and I'm going, I can't even begin to tell you how honored I am to be a small part in telling Prince's story. And again, he did all the heavy lifting. I'm just some clown who knows how to type. But it's boy, it's something. I love watching it because I love watching the ripples and where it goes and how people get affected by it. There was a guy that I remember there's 2 or 3 people that had reached out to me from the hospital, and they said, this is, I was listening to this while I'm lying in bed. And I'm like, again, it's not me. It's what was going on. They're not thinking, boy, that Dwayne. They're thinking, look at what Prince did. And that to me is the flashlight I like to shine is on him and the people around him. And people ask me why I interview so many people around him. Well, Prince didn't talk about everything. And if you're investigating something like investigating a crime, you talk to the family members and the people that are close to them to get the full story. And so sometimes they contradict, again, like I said, and sometimes there's always the chance that somebody may take more, I don't say credit, but more, that they're more important. And you have to find a way to temper that and say, well, let's look at what other people say, and let's look at what the record's saying, what all these different things. And so it's tough because you want to make sure you're also respectful of everybody, because I wasn't there. And if somebody says he wore a red shirt that day and somebody says, no, he had no shirt on, maybe he took the shirt off halfway through. I don't know, but you try to make sure you get as much right as possible. And if I got 95% right, I screwed up on 5%, I guess. So,
Yeah, I just want to double down on the community here. It's so important. And for me, that's the reason why I call it's an interactive book club. So when I say I want to hear from you, that we want to hear from you, we really do want to hear from you. And I so appreciate it when I get corrected. I think being corrected is great because you don't want to put the wrong information out there. So thank you for everyone who, corrects me or, sends me additional info.
Right.
A lot of times we're just like this collective here because if I don't know something or Michael doesn't know something, it's always at least, one person in the chat that's really on it. And if not, then we'll find out post show, which is really great. Like when we were talking about Vern Gagne, and I love the story of Big Sexy, texting you or whatever, messaging Michael of like, how can you guys not know about Vern Gagne? I didn't know who Vern Gagne was.
You mean you don't know what that is?
Relax.
We don't know everything. So it takes all of us, to make sure all of this is right. So that's one of the things I love about this is the community that we're crafting around your book. So this is really amazing because Heavenly Gains sent us an autograph of the one and only Billy Sparks.
Nice.
Billy, that's the interview right there.
Yeah, Billy Sparks. Yeah, autograph of Billy Sparks.
Are you guys still looking to? Do you guys still want to interview people around that were involved in this, like bringing other people in?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I'm not involved. I'm not at the meetings.
Yeah.
So you guys don't invite me to the meetings. So.
Well, there are no meetings to
big conference table, smoking. What are I going to do this week?
That Michael shows up every Saturday. I am so grateful. You have no idea.
You guys have great chemistry, by the way. I love both of you so much, and I love watching you bounce back and forth with Hearts.
Virtual hug.
Bloop, bloop, bloop. No, I enjoy you guys so much. I think the world of you guys. I really do. I know that anytime I can reach out to either one of you, and you guys are really good about getting back to me and stuff, because I have questions, and you guys have both hooked me up with things, and it's just nice to have you two and the people you bring in so many cool people that really know their stuff, and people are in there preaching, and it's just it's nice to hear how passionate people get, because sometimes Prince is an internal thing for a lot of us, and it's a personal relationship we all have with Prince. And then when you have a group of people, a community, a peer review come together and preach it's like church. And it's really something that I think all of us take away going, I'm part of a bigger group than I thought. I have a bigger dysfunctional family now because I have all these people I know and enjoy, that I never knew I would, do this. Both you two I met up in Minneapolis at different times. That's how I met both of you in person. And it's the friendships and the people you get and things like this. It really is something. And it all comes back to Prince, but it's what the heavy lifting everybody does. And like you're saying, the people watching this and stuff like this, it's just nice. Did you interview Tyka? No, I did not.
All right. So Dwayne, I want to be mindful of your time.
I got a little bit. I'm waiting for my wife to come home, and then we get to go out. So I will tell you, I won't just vanish.
Okay, you'll let us know.
Doom.
Okay. Dwayne, get your ass out here.
That's exactly how you heard our breakfasts. Oh, my wife refers to herself as a Prince widow. So yes, it's funny. I'll tell you funny. It's like funny. I will, like all of us, we find some really nerdy thing out. We're like, it looks like this, and I always use my finger like this while I run down the hall yelling "Eureka!" But I will say something to her, and she'll say, "I am so glad you got friends you can talk to about this." She'll move on. I'm like, okay, so yes. And so when I go up to Minneapolis, I'm excited about this. I come home and say, "This is the kind of stuff we did," and she's like, back off, Prince boy, and I'm like, okay. And so she's really good about tolerating it, but there's a limit. You got to be cool about, how much time you want to spend. D'Angela's lucky she has another Prince fan as a spouse, but it's you got to find a way to temper, because we all get excited about talking about minutia, and they're going, I don't even know the song you're talking about, let alone the fact there's a cowbell on there.
Yeah, that's a interview or a podcast, something like people who are in relationships with heavy Prince fans, and they're not really into it. Like my daughter, for instance, I'll go on a tangent. Man, when he did this song and this rehearsal, and I can see it, glasses of
glaze.
Yeah.
Your daughter
don't understand, because he did this song earlier, a couple of years earlier.
And now right. And this one had Sonny on it, and this one has Levi on it. And you're like,
Sonny.
Exactly. Yeah. I my daughter is 14, and she just says, "Oh, this is you be on a podcast with the 4 people who like your book." And I'm like, it's not quite like that, but so it's a different generation. They don't quite understand. So part of our job is to make sure the next generation gets this stuff.
Yeah.
And we got to force feed these kids.
And they're getting
come up.
They out there, man.
I know. And this is something I've said. I see people complaining when they see people have Purple Rain shirt. They don't know Prince's, and people complaining about this. And my thought is, I think it's great. I want people wearing stuff like that. I want more people to the party. They'll learn about it. Enough of us will come up and say, "Hey, that's great." They'll start listening to this. It's an entry. And so I see people saying they don't even know the songs, or where were you before Prince passed? And I'm like, they were busy. And welcome to the party. I don't care what time you get to the party. There's enough bean dip for everybody. Come on in. And so I'm one of these guys that I'm not going to be territorial about when people get their knowledge. I just want you in. Come on. There's a big tent here, and bring it. So that's kind of my thought.
I love it.
So there was a question from Stephen M. Is there an extended version of Sex Shooter? I mean, there was one that was released on the 12-inch single. Are you asking about something different? So just let us know. All right. So we want you If you saw the Purple Rain tour, again, let us know if you want to come on. Let us know if you want to call in. If you don't want to be on video, send us photos, all of that, either through the hashtag or the email. So Paisley Park Enterprises is not affiliated, associated, or connected with the What Did Prince Do This Week book club series. Kanisa told me I need to stop using the estate, so I'm using Paisley Park Enterprises. But basically what we're trying to say is that this is not official. It's not related to the official Prince. And this is an independent endeavor. It's basically what it means. And I just want to make sure that my amazing co-host, Michael Dean, knows how much I appreciate him for going through year one. And now we're on because he didn't sign up for year two. That was new.
I got forced into it. I got suckered in.
Yes, he got
like a chump.
Yes.
She's acting like the New Year didn't happen. She's like, maybe he won't
You
notice.
don't see the real D'Angelo. You better show up.
That's why I'm here. I got threatened. So it's like,
all right, I'm
rough.
man.
I know.
Yes. So I am so appreciative, Michael. I don't say it enough. So I want to make sure you are clear.
Thank you.
Like usually when, yes, because whenever we log in, because we don't have any meetings, Dwayne, we just show up every Saturday. I'm usually flustered, trying to get the slideshow together. And Michael just he just puts up with me. So I really appreciate it.
What I think is
all love.
The thing that makes me laugh about you guys is the first episode. I watched it again. It was about an hour long. And it was like, oh, that's nice. It's going to be about an hour. And it's like, that's a half a day. And I remember the first time I ever did an interview with D'Angelo, we did a 4-hour.
Mm-hmm.
We just
longer than that, actually. I think it was 6 hours.
Yeah, and then you compressed it into 4 hours.
Yeah, that's what happened.
So I just thought it was that to me. There's so much to always talk about, and I could talk for days. And again, that's why my wife is like, fascinating.
I don't. So Purple Cat Confetti. I don't know if the Purple Rain tour came to Denver. Does anyone know if it came to Denver? I would have to do my Googles on Prince Vault right now, but I don't want to do that.
I remember. I know we did for Parade. I'm trying to think we did for Purple Rain. I don't recall.
So Dwayne has already mentioned the recap reel, but I really do hope that if you invite any of your friends to catch them up, you should send them to the recap reel. So again, the slideshow is on the homepage and also on the YouTube channel. So you can send them to this recap reel so they can catch up, so they can get started with year 2 of 84. And again, it's like 100+ hours condensed into less than an hour, and more specifically 45 minutes.
Wow.
So yeah, that's some editing. So we started off with Madhouse 8 and we played 1. And speaking of Prince Vault, again, if you go to slideshow, if you click on this, it will take you to Prince Vault so you can read more on Prince Vault. But the reason why I'm going to start doing this is I made an error last week that I need to correct. Speaking of making errors, and I said I should have known. I should have went to Prince Vault. But I do know for sure that Prince played bass on 1 because it's one of my favorite songs of all time. Like I said, this is a song I went down the aisle to. I love 1. And in fact, if I was on my deathbed, this would be the song I would want to hear. Even though Join Repetition is my favorite, 1 is the one. All right, so you can see on the recording personnel that is Eric leads and Prince on all other instruments except where noted. Now, last week we played Andorra, and I said that Prince played the bass. No, not according to Prince Vault. It was Levi Cecil Jr. was on the bass on Andorra. And look at the rest of the lineup. We got Sheila E. on drums. We got Larry Frantangelo, who we talked about a couple times last year on percussion. We got Ricky Peterson on piano. We got Atlanta Bliss on trumpet. Of course, we got Eric Leeds because this is from Times Square. And then we have Prince on all other instruments except where noted. So last week I said Prince was on bass. Nope, it is Levi. So I want to make that correction. All right. We're finally to what did Prince do this week? What we know, thanks to Neil for that a little addition. What we know, 1984, week 1. This is our 52nd episode. This is our new gift for week 1. Again, thank you, Eldebara. And what did Prince do this week? 2 songs total, 6 studio visits. All right. What is he working on? Sunday, week in F. more overdubs, listed as more majority. Monday, Weekend F, more overdubs, vocals, and mix. Tuesday, took a break off. Wednesday, overdubs and mix of The Times the Bird, which was recorded earlier, in 1983, and then at a show. And then we have on Thursday, more mix of live version, and then Be My Hero, basic tracking. Then on Friday, we have vocals and vocal overdubs for Oliver's House. And then we got Glamorous Life, cello overdubs. And then we got Be My Hero string overdubs, if I remember my notation. Then last on Saturday, we have the Dawn instrumental, the Dawn. May you live to see the dawn. Welcome to the dawn, the dawn, the dawn. Basic tracking on Saturday. So this is basically what Prince did the first week of 1984 in January. This is a lot, don't you think?
This is I was thinking about this when I looked at the book as well, and you get a period of December and November where he wasn't recording as much because he was working on the film, and so this is him just laying it out. Just everything had to come out, and so that's what he's doing stuff for Sheila, doing stuff for Apollonia, doing stuff for The Time, doing stuff for tons of stuff that never came out. If you got deadlines for a movie and a soundtrack and all the other soundtracks to be doing extra songs that aren't even going to be on there, soundtrack stuff, he just could not stop. Princeaholics Anonymous. That's great. You have to understand that this guy had music built up, probably done demos of things, and because he never stopped, but finally just releasing, coming out with and just pouring it out in the studio day in, and for weeks. The entire month of January is basically filled with him kind of doing. He would do it normally, but he had extra stuff. So yeah.
So I don't know, Sakari. I don't think Levi's name is Leviticus. I just know that Prince sometimes called them Leviticus during rehearsals. So that's where I get the Leviticus from. And I think it's hilarious when Prince does that kind of stuff in concert. All right. So we are going to start our reading, and we are going to go to page 211. And let's turn our pages here. And there's a lot.
D'Angelo, why don't you talk about the name of the song?
What's that?
Why don't you talk about the name of the song?
Well,
I was hoping for this moment.
So I don't curse, Dwayne.
I know that's just a part of the fun.
Yeah,
you're a huge Prince fan, and a third of his lyrics involve something like that. You're like, I just didn't notice. I just love that. It's really sweet.
I don't know. I mean, I was raised by my grandparents in the rural South, and we just didn't. I mean, they cursed, but I wasn't allowed to curse, so it just stuck. And Southern.
I love that as a dad now.
Yes, it's nice. It's nice. Yeah. What do you say when you stub your toe?
Dag nabbit.
I say darn it. Or darn it, or dang, or
I don't know if that ever satisfied me. Holy Toledo.
There he is. Holy
Fiddle-dee-dee. Oh, fiddlesticks. I broken my toe. Fiddlesticks, I broken my toe.
Oh my God. I love Kim is coming back with the time checks. It's 1:18 Eastern, Dwayne.
I'm paying attention. I'm listening for my wife. I put a note and I literally said to my wife, let me know when the last second is so I can bail.
Yes. And I'm with Man Ray. Don't corrupt D'Angelo, Dwayne.
Oh, I'm not trying to. I'm just having some fun. Yeah.
And yes, thank you so much, Heavenly, for sharing that Billy Sparks autograph. That made my day. Autographs are one of my favorite things. Like I have speaking of my grandparents, one of my favorite things about my grandparents are having their handwriting. So handwriting is really important to me. So that's the reason why I love looking at Prince's handwriting. And I love that the handwriting is included in all the super deluxes and everything like that. So thank you so much for Billy Sparks's. Now, autograph. So now we got to get Billy's Babe's autograph, because I never knew that Billy had a babe, because Billy Babe was in the script. Remember, you weren't on this episode, Michael. It was just Celia and I. So Billy has a babe who actually comes to the taste. And I had never noticed that Billy had a babe.
Oh no, you do actually in the movie.
Yeah.
She kind of walks. He
Yeah.
lets her come into. Say, okay.
But I never noticed that because I don't know. I was either looking at Prince or Billy, one of them. And so the last week when I watched it, I never noticed Billy Babe. So I'm really happy that I now recognize Billy's Babe and now I want Billy Babe's autograph. So that's what was going on there. All right. So I'm going to read a little bit from Sunday, January the 1st, 1984. Page 211, Weekend F listed as more majority overdub, Sound Studio 3 still 2:30 p.m. to 4:45 a.m. Booked 2 p.m. open. Producer Prince, artist Prince, engineer Prince, assistant engineer Terry Christian. And the quote, and I love the quotes, Dwayne. I'm really big into quotes, so I love that quote. The quote book idea. I think it's a really great idea.
Thank you.
The original version is astonishing for Weekend F. If I were to count 5 songs of his that were my favorites, that's right up there. It's one of the most amazing tracks he has ever done, and that is Susan Rogers. Okay. New Year's Day occurred on a Sunday, and Los Angeles is basically shut down, except Sunset Sound, which opened the studio for Prince. God thanks Sunset Sound. At a New Year's Eve party, Prince had met a woman named Ash, who was associated with the musical group Direct Drive. Now, actually, I was going to show this later, but since it's in the book.
It's in the book.
It's in the book. I actually found, my husband gave me this article called Princess for 10 Days about Ash, where she talks about her 10 days with Prince. And we're going to read a little bit about it when we talk about Oliver's House, because she talks about Oliver's House.
This by coincidence, this is where I got the information from. I've never talked to this person. I didn't know where to find them. This is the article that came from. So that's great.
Cool.
Yeah. That's
yeah. And so this is from a magazine called Number One Magazine. And it was released in 1985. You can see the Fine Young Cannibals on the main page. All right. Exactly. Are you a Fine Young Cannibals fan, Michael?
I just know that song.
That song
come on TV all the time.
Okay.
It drives me crazy.
It's gonna be crazy. All right. So Prince met a woman named Ash, who was associated with the musical group Direct Drive, and invited her down to the studio. Wally Safford, Prince's friend, may Wally rest in peace. I really miss Wally.
Yeah.
Very much miss. Prince's friend and one of his bodyguards was sent to bring her to Sunset Sound while he continued to overdub the track. When she arrived, Prince wanted her to hear the track in progress. According to Ash, the song was referred to as sex. That's one thing that I was trying to figure out. Like, was she talking about Sex Shooter? Was she is she talking about another song? Like, what was this sex song? So you think it's Weekend F?
I do. I think that my thought is they probably couldn't say that in the magazine, and her publisher, back in 1985, probably said, "Don't say this. You cannot say this." And so just, you're not going to say Weekend F. It's sex. And maybe he said it to her. Maybe he said, "This song I'm calling sex," just kind of trying to be kind and not be as the Prince, the naughty boy. So I don't know. And that's what I figured. I thought about whether it was Sex Shooter, but he's actually working on I know W.C. Fields is what they called it eventually, privately, which that makes it a little easier for D'Angelo because she could talk about W.C. Fields. But yeah, I think that he was working. I'm pretty sure that he was working on Weekend F and not Sex Shooter.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm actually glad that you're here, because when I read that article, I kept reading. I was like, "What is she talking about?"
Yeah. This is part of when you work on this, really interpreting everybody's memories from years ago and trying to find a place for it, because there's things that you go, well, this doesn't make any sense here, and then there's a little piece of information that makes it fit. Mike during the podcast,
just drinking water. Favorite water. Stop.
That's funny. Podcast juice.
That's later.
Oh my God. Okay. So when she arrived, Prince wanted her to hear the track in progress. According to the song, it's referred to as sex instead of Weekend F. At 5:15 p.m., Prince took a break and left the studio with Ash, who went out for dinner. Then Prince went to do the vocals for Sex. She said, "He asked me to leave then because he'd get really embarrassed. I could see why when he played me the song, it was really rude." Once Ash left for the night, Prince had Christian set up his microphone to sing. I remember a knockout vocal. This is Terry Christian talking. He was the only one in the studio when he sang it. All of Prince's lyrics are open to interpretation, and as he stated, they can be used on something happening in his life. So it's easy to imagine why he'd sing, because though I've just met you, there's this energy between us. The next 10 hours, Prince added more vocal overdubs to the song. Wendy Melvoin and Lisa Coleman probably added their vocals to the mix that evening. Jill Jones also recorded part for the track, but not in her usual capacity. Instead, Prince recorded her in the throes of ecstasy, even though she isn't credited on the track. As she recalls, I was always a little bit adamant about We Can F. I am on that record, and not to be descriptive, but yes, I just know I'm on it. And then I guess he expanded on that section because I went out from there and he went in and filled in all the blanks. And I went into the side room and I was just watching TV, laughs and parentheses.
Wait, I'm sorry. I've read this book before. Maybe she was recorded in the throngs of ecstasy. What does that mean? Like she was just making those noise, or like they was really like in the studio.
This is where Jill should write a book, is the bottom line. And I know the three of us would get that first day, or because we want to know this stuff. And I wasn't there. I can't say exactly what it was, and I'd have to go back to what she said in the original interview. But this is a story Jill could tell better than me, so hopefully she can be on one of these episodes.
Yeah.
Damn, Prince, man. So he went out with another young lady, got inspired to write this song, and then brought in other young ladies that he's working with to sing on the song. Man, that's inspiration. Prince, something else. Man. You got to give it to him.
Yes, and we're going to continue to page 213 at the top, which is, as with the previous day's session, Prince requested that the true title, We Can F, not be used on the daily work order. Instead, he substituted it with the title of an unreleased Vanity 6 track, Moral Majority. No mix was done, more than likely because he knew the session would continue the following day. All right, so we're not going to read about Monday because it's just more about We Can F. And so we're going to...
Yeah, you can't read enough about that as far as I'm concerned. So every day should be about that. What did I say?
So we are going to move to page 26. No, I'm sorry. I got that wrong, or I'm on the wrong one. Hold on one second.
It's 214 is for the bird.
For the bird. I was on the wrong slide. Yeah, 214 for the bird. So Michael Dean, do you mind starting off the reading? And then Dwayne, do you mind picking up if Michael gets tired?
Sure.
Yeah. Stop.
He's not even following along.
No, I'm following. My mind was on say a joke and it just stopped.
I saw that look on your face, like I got a joke here coming. I don't know. Should I say it?
All right. Wednesday, January 4th, 1984. The bird. So I start with the quote. If he was awake, as long as he wasn't on the phone handling business, for the most part, Prince was recording. I've never known anyone else who works like that. I love that. How she said he could be awake. Now, he might be on the phone handling some business, but if he ain't doing that, he's in the studio. I love that. Prince shifted his focus back to some of the projects he needed to complete, and he began working on the live version of The Bird from the October 4th, 1983 concert by the time. The original tape captured the band's energy, and if used, would be the first time the entire band would all perform on any of their albums. And they've already had 2 albums by this point.
Yep.
Crazy. More importantly, it was the first official release song by the time that potentially did not involve Prince controlling the session. However, once he listened to the track, Prince decided that he could do better on some of the instruments. That's
Eureka! I can do better. Exactly.
Terry Christian witnessed Prince's need to leave his mark on the track as he selectively replaced various parts with his own performance. Prince was putting up the tape and going over old guitar parts. him playing guitar instead of Jesse. He made a comment like, Jesse can't play that good. Very arrogant. Prince is such an asshole. He's so scared of people rising to his level that he always tries to keep you down. Jesse Johnson reflected in 1986. He played so many mind trips on us, which we had to take or be fired. The stage was our only release. That's why the Time were such a treacherous band. When we hit the stage, we had a serious mental grudge. Some nights we'd knock on his dressing room door and say, "We're going to slaughter you." You know,
Let's skip the next paragraph and go to Jelly Bean Johnson. Had a different perspective.
Jelly Bean Johnson had a different perspective on Prince's ways of controlling those around him by pushing them. He was a way, and it may not be the nicest way. It's always like he's Bobby Knight or something. And remind me who Bobby Knight is.
Bobby Knight was the head coach for oh god, what team was it? But he was
It was a sports
sometimes very violent. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Somebody in the group would, I'm sure, know that better.
Yeah, Big Sexy's coming in 2 seconds. It's amazing what you can find yourself doing when you're around him because he demands it. He demands it. And I admire that. He makes you do things that you think you couldn't, but you end up doing them.
Indiana Hoosiers. Sorry, didn't remember. Sorry.
Everybody that's ever been in his band is a lot better musician today than they were before.
All right, let's get to the next page and go to By the Time Prince Had Finished.
By the time Prince had finished adding his embellishments to the bird, it featured much less of the time. Prince added new keyboards and completely re-recorded Rocky Harris's bass, then mixed it very low in the final mix. It would have been Harris's only part on a song by the time, as he was in the band for only a brief period. It wasn't uncommon for members of the Time to be on call and just hanging out at Sunset Sound or close by the studio waiting to help out, even though the chance to add to the song often never came. I sat there for like 2 or 3 hours, commented Jelly Bean Johnson. But if you say anything, you're wasting your fucking time. It's going to be his way or the highway. He has his ideas, and obviously he's had enough hits to know it must work. Somebody liked it. Prince had members of the Time add background vocals, and the session ended earlier than usual. A very rough mix was done, leaving a full mix until the following day. 3 cassettes were made of the session for review. Status: the original live version of the Bird, 7 minutes and 56 seconds, contained 3 extra callbacks from Day, including another chili sauce, a squawk, and a one more time. Prince kept those for today's version, but eventually created an edit of the song, 7 minutes and 3 seconds, for release on the Ice Cream Castle album. An additional 30 seconds of music box sound effects were added to the final album version. The song was also released as an edited single version, 3 minutes and 41 seconds, and a remix at 6:25. And I'm done.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Dean. All right. So we're going to go to the next day, which is Thursday, January 5th, 1984, on page 216. And Dwayne, do you mind reading about the tracks and then the quote, and then skip the first paragraph and start at 5?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. The Bird was recorded. The live version is mixed here, and "Be My Hero" is basic tracking is done here, and an unnamed track, which ended up being Oliver's House. Done at Studio Sunset Sound, Studio 3, from 11 p.m. till 5:30 a.m. I don't know if you want me to tell all this information.
Yes.
Producers Prince, obviously. The artist at the time. Engineers Prince, and the assistant engineer is Terry Christian. A little background for why Terry Christian was the engineer, not Peggy McCreary for this stuff, is Peggy was away for Christmas with her husband, so she went away. So that's why you have Bill Jackson and Terry Christian and stuff like that doing these sessions. Just a little historic context.
I love that, because I was wondering. I was like, "What? Where is Peggy?"
Yeah, they went away for the holiday. I don't remember the specific reason. I could speculate, but I don't remember what it was.
I mean, she needs a break.
oh yeah, exactly. Peggy's the best. Peggy is amazing when it comes to this stuff, and her knowledge of this. I think that people like that bring in so much, and Bill Jackson and like I said, Terry Christian also bring in a lot. They remember specifics because they only did a few sessions, so they remember even more detail about those sessions. Some of the others, if you do 1,000 sessions, you forget specifics and they blend in. Those guys are very specific. Quote from Prince: "Most keyboard players, most keyboard no, not yet. Most keyboard players don't have good rhythm. You have to have an intimate relationship with the beat, and either you have it or you don't. You can't learn it," according to Prince. Let's see. And you want me to start with where on here?
At 5 p.m.
At 5 p.m., the mix was done. And Prince asked for a fresh 2-inch tape to start working on another song, Be My Hero. He recorded this slow, moody instrumental by once again starting with the Lindrum machine pattern and filling it in with guitar, with Wendy on guitar and Lisa on keyboards, who added to the bass contributions. The title sound, the track sounds like it was recorded for consideration for scoring a scene from Purple Rain. The song ends with Lisa joking, "Okay, off to the glue factory," which is very typical Lisa humor.
What does that mean?
That's talking about a horse for some reason. Okay, it's like okay, you've done your job. Now it's off to the glue factory. Prince started another track with the same tape, but eventually became Oliver's House for Sheila E. But tonight it had no name. Until it has a lyric, it doesn't have a title, said Christian. He would say, "Put on any." Prince would say, "Put on anything," and what recorded that day. What recorded today as the title. The final 12 hours are spent working on both new tracks. I'm sorry, I keep looking to see if this is what I've got to run. Where was I? The final 12 hours are spent working on a mix of the Bird and the 2 instrumental tracks was created and put to tape. Prince took the cassette to write any necessary lyrics before he returned, and the session ended at 5:30 a.m., which is a typical session ending for him. Status: Be My Hero, 6:38, including Lisa's post-song joke, would be worked on the following day, but it's not likely that any lyrics were written. My wife just said she's on her way, but I got a few minutes. Not likely any lyrics were written to the song. The track was not used in Purple Rain and remains unreleased. So there we go with that.
Thank you for that, Dwayne.
Yeah, sure.
I love hearing authors read their own work.
Oh, I would do a lot more poetically and clear my throat and stuff like that. I was really worried about that, but yeah, sprinting through it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of quotes in the chat about the Bird. So the overdub of the Bird is a beast. And then Ricky's saying the low mix of the bass on the Bird. So I say more. And then the muting of Jesse's solo, Shake My Head from SMS 130. Nick Felden is letting us know that quote from Prince is from Keyboard Magazine.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And then
just so you know, I always try to cite where these quotes come from. That's in the back of the book. There's about 50 pages of citations where you can find more information about where these things are and see what they're in context and stuff. Yeah.
That's one of the things I really love about your book, Dwayne, because you don't get that in a lot of other books. So like you're very meticulous in your endnotes. And so with all the quotes, you can see a little superscript, and for this one it's 16, so you just need to go to the chapter and find it. So thank you so much for that.
I like people to be able to do the research and see where it fits in context, and also see that this wasn't used out of context, and to go back and read the other authors' work. People work hard on the interviews for essays and stuff like that they write. I want them to get some light on them too. To me, it's they've done a lot of hard work. I happen to be using a quote from them, but how many times I cite Mr. Dean over here or D'Angela on where quotes come from. It's, you guys did the work. You deserve to see, you deserve some flowers. So.
Yeah, but I do think it's important to have some of that information in context, like just because like when you just have the quote, you need to kind of know like what came before, what came after, and having the endnotes would allow you to do this. I'm definitely want to make sure you see this before you go. Yes! I did not pay this person, but thank you so much, Comics. You're the best. Yes, the receipt. So let's see what Blake Brown's talking about. Imagine telling P that you killed it on a take. You should never tell Prince that you killed it on a take. And him just letting you believe it after he muted you. Yes, that sounds about right. Anil says, was watching Bomani Jones on YouTube the other day, and his bookshelf behind him had both of Dwayne's books.
That's very nice. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you, Neil.
Very nice.
Hope you're doing well, my friend. Thank you.
And then academic level citation is a great balance to how many folks also didn't get proper credit over the years. Yes.
I see so many books and they have a quote by somebody and they're going, I'm thinking, did you interview Prince? Or did you, and I've also seen quotes from some of my books that are used in other books. And that's fine. I love that. Not cited and misquoted. And I'm like, I wish they just, kind of get it right. But if people did the work, they should get they get some mention about it. It just,
Okay. All right. So do you need to leave?
My wife just said it should be about 10 more minutes. So I'm guessing as soon as she walks in the door, you'll see a hook come in and go like that. I will have my daughter come in here and drag me out. But
all right.
I'm still here. So
okay, cool.
Are we done? Let's go.
No, we're not.
I want to see his demeanor change when his wife come in the room.
I sit up straight.
Yes, dear.
I'm working, Mel. Yeah.
Let's see what Love Sexy 71 is saying. The live First Avenue version, Jungle Love and the Bird from the Time concert show was smoking. Those two tracks live sounded way better than the versions that ended up on the official album. Okay.
Them could be fighting words for somebody. Yeah, exactly. Prince would disagree with that.
I thought about the same thing. I wonder if Prince agrees. Yes.
The Prince one law of power. I have the 48 laws of power. You got the one law of power. You're not better than me.
Next. Yes. All right. So let's keep reading. Friday, January 6, 1984, Oliver's House, vocals and various overdubs, The Glamorous Life, cello overdub, Be My Hero, string overdub, Sunset Sound, Studio 3 p.m., 1 to 1:45 a.m., booked 4 p.m. open, producer Prince, artist Prince, engineer Prince, assistant engineer Bill Jackson, although Terry Christian was listed. And this is the quote from Lisa Coleman. Prince loved my brother's sense of humor before he had even heard one note of his music or his musical abilities on several instruments. My brother was one of the funniest people I knew and one of the few people that made Prince crack up. Prince would also imitate my brother's hilarious version of someone screaming, "Look out, she's gonna blow," and a growling adventure hero yarl. That always gave everyone a belly laugh. I love hearing Prince. I love hearing people talk about Prince laughing for some reason. It just puts a smile on my face. Okay, this is Bill Jackson talking. We were working extremely fast. The songs were in his head and he just needed to put it down on tape. Prince's playful mood shined through the lyrics and on the page on which they were written. He referred to a neighborhood slut with the absurd name Glodine. Now, wasn't Glodine Barry White's wife? Wasn't Barry White's wife named Glodine? Am I making that up, Kim? Can you double check on that for me, please? And an examination of the handwritten lyrics shows that he even doodled a castle-like house on the top of the page, complete with stick figures playing in a swimming pool. Once the lyrics were complete, Prince added his vocals to the previous night's instrumental, giving the song a title, Oliver's House. It is unclear who Oliver was, but he would be revisited a month later on the Apollonia 6 track in a Spanish villa. And it's easy to hear how Oliver's House could have been placed on the Apollonia 6 album as well. Additional instruments were overdubbed, and by 8 p.m., Prince was looking for someone else to help him find a specific sound. Now, speaking of Oliver, I don't know where I got this from, so maybe somebody can help me. Oh, yes. Thank you so much, Baron and TL. Yes, Glodine James was Barry White's wife. Yes, that was her name. I'm glad that my memory isn't failing me yet. Glodine White. Yeah.
Who came up? I mean, is this you writing this part, Dwayne? Is it the neighborhood slut, or is that a quote? What is that?
Well, no. It's the lyrics. I mean, you got to look back at the lyrics and see what he's saying. But it's let's look up the lyrics. I don't remember the lyrics specifically. Let's see.
Oh, we're talking about Oliver's House.
Yeah. No, it's not some random hoochie that's dropped by the studio. Like, it's yeah. No, it is. And the name Glodine is actually in the lyrics. I didn't know what the name was, and so I saw that Glodine.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So when Sheila E. came out, and her family is all in the Glamorous Life video. So for instance, like Eddie M isn't playing the saxophone, it's actually Pito, her brother. But for whatever reason, I feel like she used to call Peter, her brother, one of her brothers, Oliver. So for a long time, I thought Peter was Oliver. I don't know why. And I don't know, like, did she refer to him, or if they were on some show? Can someone help me? Or did I just make up that he was Oliver? Also, my grandparents, my grandfather is an Oliver, so I love Olivers. Like, technically, I was born in Oliver. That's a long story, but yeah. So I have a lot of affinity for the name Oliver.
Cousin Oliver.
Yes, yes. All right. So over the last few months, Prince has seemed to become enamored with the new sounds that were coming from those around him. Sheila E. was gently guiding his music in a new direction. I don't know about gently. She was pretty aggressive. But
Right, but I do think these people bend his music slightly. I don't think they cramp. They kind of, you can hear when somebody's adjusting it. It's always him making the sounds. It's to say gently, kind of. She's adding timbales, adding that kind of stuff. I think that's what I meant by that.
Yeah, no, I get it. I actually just watched a documentary that Nick Feldon just sent me from this YouTube channel called Drumeo, and it's like the genius of Sheila E. And I have it in the accompanying playlist for this week, and it's also in the slide. It's actually really well done. Like, this guy or the company or whatever, they really did a deep dive into Sheila. So I'm on a Sheila kick. And anyway, seeing footage of Sheila recently, and I always know about her, but she is very competitive. I mean, if you read her book, she talks about, how she was into sports, as a teen. And I just know that, well, whenever I just don't see Gentle and Sheila in the same sentence, just because, like, when it comes to music, like, she can go toe to toe with anyone, you know what I mean? So I wonder, like, what those early sessions with she and Prince were like when they didn't know each other, maybe as musicians, like working together. Obviously they knew each other before as people, but like working together, how that was. It would be really interesting to know. So if Dwayne or Michael, if you ever interview Sheila, it would be really great to kind of hear about what it was like when they first got together with Sheila. I just feel like she would just be so aggressive and competitive and really trying to, go toe to toe from everything that I've read and heard her say. So that's the reason why I'm kind of responding. All right. And then Wendy Melvoin and Lisa Coleman were expanding his emotional range, and Lisa's brother David was bringing a new and yet classic exotic flavor to his music. So Prince asked him to drop by the studio with his cello. He arrived at 10 p.m. and this is Lisa. He sang what he had in mind. He said, "Come up with some kind of cheesy melody. What have you got?" We both laughed because we both had this thing about cheese. "Let's have some of that cheese, David." And so I first did pizzicato, plucking, and he said, "Not that one." So I did a variation of the Father Knows Best theme, and that's that. And that's what that is when the cello drifts out into different keys. It's funny. So
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's my daughter. It's my daughter.
Hello.
You
Hey.
have to go. We go now.
What? Yeah.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Sorry, guys. Thank you for. I'll make it quick.
Dwayne.
The things you guys do are incredible, and I would be honored to come back on anytime. I will definitely be on. Again, I just love time with you guys. I want to say this is going to be not only with this stuff, but the stuff coming up this year. We got there's always new books and new things to read. Andrew Swenson's got books coming out this year. I'm one of these people that reads everything like that, and I hope you guys do too. So thank you very much for. Yeah, I don't know the words. So many people are writing in here and are friends of mine and people I care about deeply. And it always chokes me up. So it's an honor, and I know this isn't about me, but it's about the book and about Prince himself. But it's wait, gotta hold it up, gotta represent. Thank you again, and please, I enjoy this. If you have any comments or thoughts, write to me. I've got the Facebook group. Please drop by. I'm always open to answering questions or talking. A lot of you know that I talk to people privately for hours, and I don't know how I get anything done. But my daughter is waiting, as you saw. She's adorable, and I want to keep her that way. It's always nice. I love you guys, and I will talk to you guys soon. And I will look at the rest of this thing when I get back later today.
Awesome.
Okay?
Peace, man.
Okay. Take care, guys.
Have a good one, man.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
bye. All right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do two things at once. And let's see. Thank you.
I caught that as a kid. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Okay. So let me see where. Okay. So we said. Okay. All right. Prince also asked Coleman to add strings to Be My Hero and the iconic cello riff to the Glamorous Life. That is a very iconic cello riff to Glamorous Life during the session. So a lot happened during the session. It is likely that Jill Jones was also in attendance and added her background vocals to Oliver's house today. According to Jones, she had a very intimate understanding about what he wanted from her. One interesting thing about recording with him, he wasn't like, this is Jill talking, can you do it again? For some reason, you knew. I don't think I really nailed that. I'm going to have to do that again. He's not pushy. He just say, can you try something different? Just do whatever. He was really good at that. That's really good advice. I think I need to take that on because sometimes I can be a little direct. So I love this. Can you try something different? Just do whatever. I think that's a really great way to get a different take on something. As the session wound down, Prince created a rough mix of Oliver's house and The Glamorous Life. After making 2 cassettes, he kept one and gave the other to David Coleman. He gave me a cassette and I said, what about one for the girls? And he said, that is for the girls. Status, Sheila E.'s vocals eventually replaced Prince's guide track on Oliver's house. 16 minutes and 20 seconds for the version included on her debut album, The Glamorous Life. An edited version, 3 minutes and 14 seconds, was released as the B-side of the Noon Rendezvous single. Now, go ahead, Michael.
I was going to say, it's interesting to hear the different musicians, and these are only days apart, sort of the Prince, their interpretations of Prince. They're like, man, this was great. He was asking us to do different parts. We're in there laughing and joking. And then when you go the day before with the time, it's like, they're like, man, he's an asshole. Like, it's such a wildly different styles, or I don't know, the way he's dealing with certain people. But I just find it interesting. Like, one day he recorded all our shit. And then the other day he's like, yeah, everyone gets to contribute and stuff. It's just kind of fun.
It is kind of funny when you put it like that. I mean, because the thing is, this is just like, back-to-back days.
Right.
It's like maybe he wakes up and today is a good day.
Today's on one. You're like,
yeah. And, Peggy talked a little bit about that. I think we might have read this, or I know she's definitely talked about this in interviews where she could tell like what kind of mood he was just by the way he walked, the way, things that he would wear, and that you just never knew what kind of Prince that you would get. I can imagine because, he was working in like a job, going to the studio was his job. He was going, every day basically. And, you don't have great days every single day on your job. So, yeah. Now, one thing I want to say about Oliver's house. So I have a Vimeo channel, and I only have a Vimeo channel for stuff I can't post on YouTube. And we had Dan Charnas, who wrote the Dilettante book, join us for the Triple Threat 40 Symposium last year, and he did an incredible breakdown of Oliver's house. I haven't added it to the slide deck, but I am going to add the link to the slide deck because I can't add it to the YouTube playlist because it's not on YouTube. But if you really like Oliver's house, and I see that a couple of you do, I would really suggest that you actually go over to Vimeo and watch. There's 2 parts. I had to break the video into 2 parts because it was so long. So the part 2 is the end of the talk. He talks about Oliver's house. So you might want to check that out if you're into Oliver's house. Okay, so we're finally at our last day of the week, and we've already talked about Ash. The only thing I wanted to say is read a little bit for the sex in the studio. So I'm glad that Dwayne cleared up sex is probably talking about week in F. And this is what she says in this interview from 1985. And I don't know who Ash was, but they were a singer in a group called Direct Drive back in 84. So the next day, he sent a silver limousine over for me with his friend Wally. I hate the way that she describes Wally, so I'm not going to read it. It's fine, but I was just like, really? I went down to the studio with him where he was recording a couple tracks at the time. One of them is on Sheila E.'s LP called Oliver's House, and the other was called Sex, which I don't think has come out yet. Sheila E. gets all the credit for the words for Oliver House, but she didn't do the words. But Prince is like that. I think he gets so much credit himself, he can afford to give credit to others. In fact, there's a line in Oliver's House that goes, Oliver likes to drive around in open top convertibles, and that's me. I wrote that line. So more people, okay. A couple of days later, Prince asked me what payment I wanted for that line, and I said an ice cream, so he bought me one. The shop was closed, but they saw who it was, so the people opened up. That second night, we went out for dinner when Prince went to do the vocals for Sex, Week in F. He asked me to leave then because he said he'd get really embarrassed. He could see why when he played me the song was really rude, and Dwayne had that in the book. Prince wore baggy cream trousers to the pictures and his little high-heeled boots. His trousers are so baggy that the boots tuck in underneath them, and he had a long cream-colored coat on. That's the sort of thing he wears all the time. I wasn't sure whether to wear high shoes or flat shoes to the pictures because I'm about 2 inches taller than him, which makes him about 5'3". In the end, I decided to wear high shoes. I thought he'd probably be used to girls being taller. We both enjoyed the film, and he nearly cried at the end. I did, exclamation point. And then she goes on talking about Prince as a studio monkey, another word I don't necessarily appreciate, but we'll just leave it there. She talks about how Prince is in the studio all the time. What's that, Michael?
I didn't even catch that. You see, when I saw Studio Monkey, but then when you said that, wow.
Yeah, I don't like that. So yeah, exactly.
That black guy that was at the awards.
Yes, exactly. So
what's my man's name? Jonathan Majors.
Yes, yes, Tanja, a lot of undertones. Exactly. All right. So I spoke about this, and I want to just give a shout out to Nick Felden again. For anyone, even like I knew all the stuff, I've seen all the clips, but this was a little masterful, like mini documentary that they put together about Sheila E. Most of it is Sheila talking about herself and her playing or Prince. So I think it's really brilliant. And you might want to check it out. It's definitely in the accompanying playlist. And I also, in the accompanying playlist, I have a live version of Oliver's House that Sheila did either in 84 or 85. So if you want to listen to Oliver's House live, you can do so with the playlist. So Michael Dean, do you want to take us out on our last song, which is for Saturday, January 7th on page 219?
The dawn. In my humble opinion, the dawn occurs when spiritual enlightenment takes place. When one learns, I love when Prince talks like, when one learns of his or her relationship to everything on earth and the universe. I love when one learns, like, oh, it's when you learn, but I love it. Using the fake title that hid We Can Fuck from Warner Brothers just a few days earlier, Prince decided to record an instrumental called The Dawn. This slow-paced 3/4 time track contains elements from songs like 17 Days and would inspire songs like the instrumental version of Gold and some of his work and some of his work on his 1986 Parade album, as well as other music from that era, including The Question of You. I don't think I've ever heard this. I would love to hear this, man. Prince was recording a lot of instrumental music during this period, perhaps for consideration for the Purple Rain score. but possibly because he wanted to bank these tracks for use on for future projects. It is likely that Lisa and Wendy assisted on this track, but that is unconfirmed. It is also unclear what the purpose of this track was, but according to those around him, Prince was already thinking of movies beyond Purple Rain, especially the one he was referring to as The Dawn. May you live to see the dawn was a phrase he used quite frequently, and Prince eventually even used it in his album artwork. That to me, that phrase is almost like I almost hold that in my mind back then, and somebody saying "May the force be with you" or something. Like it was just like, what does that mean? Like, may you live to see the dawn. It was just a whole like, man, it was just a whole ideology or something that I don't know if we really got whatever it is he was cooking on that.
Yeah, I don't think we got it, but
Yeah.
I do think that, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I really think that Graffiti Bridge is super important, because he
Mm,
really was trying to communicate something to us. And I want to say that it's a continuation of the Dawn, or,
mhm,
so like you're absolutely right. I don't think we ever got it. So one of the things that I really regret, I really wish that Prince could have finished his autobiography.
mm,
I really do think that we would have been enlightened, but it didn't work out that way. But yeah.
yeah. Uh, Prince said the dawn was going to be the thing. Remembered David Z. I think he might have conceived those songs early on, thinking of the film early on. Status work on the Dawn, 14 minutes and 51 seconds, would continue into the next day, but the track remains unreleased. Prince would revisit it on the Piano and a Microphone tour on February 16th, 2016. That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Man. While performing in Melbourne, Australia, he implied a connection of the track to Vanity, who had died the day before. Wow, man, that's kind of heavy.
That's really heavy. So while we sit on that for a second, if you go to Prince Vault and you look up that February 16th piano and microphone show, at the bottom it says this show included the live debut of the Dawn, seemingly in connection with the passing of Denise Matthews, aka Vanity, the day before. So I actually haven't listened to any of the piano and the microphone audio, because I just don't, I mean, every
Oh,
time
really?
I try, I just can't do it. But I might try to do so again this time, because I would love to hear this live version of the track. And then I just want to see what Prince Vault has to say about the Dawn. See if they differ. Hold on, I'm trying to get my.
I mean, you could see that. I could see, man, the estate or whoever's just a one-off release of that
Mhm.
14-minute, like, welcome to the dawn, finally. Like, whatever was finished of that, this is what he was trying to convey, or we can kind of think about what it would be. But it does, yeah. I mean, it's interesting that that song was probably gonna be like my man said, it was gonna be the thing. Like it was just gonna be the next, and it was so like spoken about little hints and phases. I would just love to hear it, whatever that is, like, and just imagine what it was supposed to be. What was he trying to convey? Like it was going to be this whole thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, and Rhonda Nicole understands what I'm talking about. Now, I mean, I don't know nothing. So I'm just, what I'm about to say, I know nothing. I'm just speculating, meaning like this is what I would want, because this is a year of Purple Rain. It would be nice to have a Purple Rain Super Deluxe. I don't think we're going to get one. It would be great if but again, I don't know nothing. I'm just saying what I wish for. And it would be really great if the Dawn was on it, especially at 14 minutes and 51
Yeah.
seconds. Right. And if it is in the vein of, I personally, I love instrumentals. I mean, we started off the day with Madhouse One of my favorite instrumentals of all time, and a Prince instrumental. And like the God instrumental is, really special. I love it. And I just think it would be really great if The Dawn could be released, because obviously it was very special for him to bring it back in 2016. I mean, that's insane. And how
I love that he doesn't forget his stuff. Like, he knows his stuff. I don't care if it was 20 years. Yo, this is the one. This is for vanity.
Yeah. And I love this idea from Chuck here, Chuck Erling. A 12-inch single of The Dawn would be a great idea for a record store day release. That's what I'm talking about, Chuck. Yes, I agree. Yes, and Blake Brown, I love this, knowing that there's a professionally shot performances of some of those shows. It's hard to get through the fan recordings as a whole, at least for me. Hoping it's released one day. I still would like to have the Paisley Park Gala shows when he introduces a piano and the mic repertoire, for sure. All right, so we're almost to the end, if not at the end. Let me see what else, because I can't even remember what I have. Okay, so again, week 1 of 1984, we've gone through it. 2 songs total, 6 studio visits total. So the new songs this week were Be My Hero and The Dawn, which we just talked about. And I thought I was going to start this in January, but I need to actually recruit some people. And we also have a lot of reading to do. So I got to figure out when would be the best time to start our after salons for the Diamonds and Pearls Super Deluxe virtual celebration. So it's either going to be February or March. We're going to do 5 consecutive weeks after What Did Prince Do This Week? And I just want everybody to know that I'm about to go into full planning mode for Erotic City 40, because April will be here in no time. And it's going to be in person at NYU and live streamed. And then we're also going to do a virtual symposium for COM, 30 Years of COM, in August on the 10th and 11th. And then this is the accompanying playlist. Again, you can see a 1986 performance of Oliver's House from the Festival de Viña from Sheila E., as well as some of the other music that we talked about today. And next week, we will cover pages 219 through 234. That's a lot of reading, so definitely get your reading on. And I love this comment from Kim. Listen, Jughead, it is on fire on that Glam Slam show. Oh my God. So Kim, did you listen? Yeah, you said Jughead Live. So yeah, Glam Slam. Hurt me. Yes. All right. Do you want to take us out?
Yeah, can you fire up that Madhouse again? We can slide out of here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for joining us again on this Saturday. But we got to get up out of here. You got to get up out of here. We'll see you next weekend. Salute to Dwayne for joining us as well. Salute to everybody in the chat, keeping us going. We thank you so much. Salute to D'Angela for making it happen. And with that said, work it like a job. We'll see you next time.